Privacy as the default setting. The second fundamental principle of privacy by design model developed by Dr. Anne Cahoukian, the former Information and Privacy Commissioner, Ontario, Canada. Let's talk about it in this video. We'll understand the depth of this particular principle on my YouTube channel. Welcome to my YouTube channel, where we have been talking in depth about data privacy in various aspects, and there's a whole lot of content that you'll find on my channel on the same. So the second principle, privacy as the default setting. To begin with, what is privacy itself? You need my personal information for some work. Maybe you are a banker and you want to open my account. Maybe you are a marketing agency who wants to market their products. So you need to come and ask me for my information or get my information from some source, and it's my right to choose which information do I want to share with you, why do I want to share it with you, what is the purpose, and if you think you want to share this with someone else, then it is again my decision whether I want you to allow you to share my information with a third party, right? So my personal information with you or with someone else through you can be only with a clear purpose known to me, and this process of taking my permission is known as consent management and is one of the components of the overall paradigm of data privacy, which also provides me a set of rules and laws in each geography of the world, that if in case I find my data being misused or wrongly shared, then I can actually take help of the law and protect my interest, right? Now that's the basic data privacy. When it comes to privacy by design, Dr. Anne has recommended that privacy should be a part of each and every system of your organization. When you start devising a new process or maybe a new organization, at an early design stage itself, privacy should be embedded into it. During development, whatever new things you find in your processes, during the use of process, end of the process, maybe you start using a CRM application today, so you should document very well today itself that how personal information of my employees are going to be used or my customers is going to be used. And if in case at some stage I decide to discontinue using this system, how would I dispose it of, or how would I upgrade it to the new CRM, right? So the entire life cycle of personal information in your business should be well documented and should be embedded at every step, every process, and that is what the basic concept of privacy by design. Okay. Now when it comes to default settings, when your operating system has an issue, your software has an issue, everyone says first go back to default settings, right? So same is the case here. Make privacy as a part of the default settings of your organization. Protect personal data of each associated individual. Protect both in terms of availability, that is having a copy, backups, and in terms of security, and from privacy point of view, more in terms of security, in terms of authorized access, maintaining CIA, encryption, data anonymization, and each of these words have their own respective details which are covered in various videos on my YouTube channel. You can go through them. Fine-tune your business practices. Keep your IT systems highly secure because that's where the personal information is, and please ensure, build it in your mind, that privacy of any individual associated with my business is my business's responsibility. Fine. Some of the key aspects, very, very important. You should communicate the purpose. When you are trying to collect information from any individual, before collecting the information, you should communicate what do you want to collect, why do you want to collect it, and how would you use it. And at some stage, how would you retain and dispose it of. This should be clear to the person handling over trusting his personal information with you right at the stage of collection of the information. The purpose should be very clear. The amount of data or information collected should be relevant to the purpose and limited to the purpose only. No extra information to be collected. I've been using that example several times. Right? It's my personal saving account that the bank wants to open. They don't need the details of my kids. Right? So the bank should collect only what is relevant to them. So that's, and again, I have a video on banking as well, so you can go through that. Other key aspects, the collection should be limited, like we discussed in the previous example. It should be very fair according to the purpose. It should be lawful, and it should be limited to the purpose. So the information that you are collecting has to be very, very fair according to the law and limited to the purpose. And you should adopt practices of data minimization. You should collect non-identifiable interactions and you should correlate them with identifiability, observability and linkability, but keep them separate. When I say identifiability, what I'm trying to explain here is that when you log in into any system and when you create a login into any system, they ask you for a unique account that you want to create for yourself. It does not need to be your name or your email ID or your phone number. So you are allowed to have a unique identifier for yourself. Your login information should not be able to identify your personal information. When it comes to observability, apply encryption in all your systems. All users' data are encrypted. One compromise should not mean that everything gets compromised. When it comes to linkability, I would use the example of browsing. The cookies are collecting browsing information, they are collecting your personal information, they are collecting your shopping preferences. Keep them in 3 different databases. So if one part or one database is compromised, the entire user data is not compromised, right? Also remember that you need to retain this data. So how would you retain it and how would you dispose it of should also be very clearly documented with you. You should limit the use to relevant purpose. Use it only if there is a consent or if it is required by law. There is a legal aspect to it. Then you have to disclose that information. And retain it only till it's required. If I have decided and used my right to erasure, erase it. If I have decided and said right to object to processing my information, give me the policy that says that you will erase my information in 30 days. So I am safe and sure that means any leak or breach of my personal information would not happen through your business, right? So be clear on that. And again, we have a video on user rights also on our channel. If use is not clear, then there shall be a presumption of privacy, right? Now, what is the presumption of privacy? The presumption of privacy says that it is assumed that the data you are collecting is private, okay? So we presume that you are following principles of privacy. It requires explicit consent and an informed consent. The user is informed of how are you going to use this data. If it is going beyond a limit, then justification is required. It has to be documented. You minimize the data collection and processing of data, and the collection and usage processes should be very, very transparent. It should be known to user that his data is getting collected and is being used and how are they going to be collected and used. And the data has to be kept with utmost security. We talked about encryption, minimization, anonymization. Use all of them, but make sure that the data that gets damaged or maybe hacked is not usable for the hackers, right? So it is presumed that when you are collecting my personal information, you are taking care of all the critical privacy principles. Apply a proactive precautionary principle. That means all of these become a default setting for your business. That's what I wanted to talk about, privacy as the default setting. The second fundamental principle of privacy by design model. We'll be talking about the remaining principles also as we go through one by one. And if you like my content, press like and bell icon. Share my content with your friends, make them more informative. You need any help, contact me. My contact details are there. Subscribe to my channel or share your feedback in the comments box. Thank you.